Have you started using AI?
We have at the studio quite extensively, yeah.
And what AI programs are you currently using?
I mean, some of the just simple ones would be like the Adobe Speech Enhance, just to clean up audio. I use another one called La, which you can put in, maybe it's La or La, something like that. You can put in like a track, a music track, and it will separate it into stems. So just the vocals, just the guitar, just the drums. You can break it out. It's amazing. I use another one called Lab 11 for voice cloning, and it's really awesome. So you can put in a subject's voice. Obviously, this is all to consent by the subject, but you can put in the subject's voice. It clones the voice, and then you can type in text, and it'll speak the text. But even more so, what you can do now is I can record my voice for the content, the tone, and the inflection that I want the speaker to say, and then it will graph the subject's voice onto my performance. It's pretty awesome. And then I use Topaz on Lines of Mesopotamia. Topaz, the AI video cleanup, and so I can up-res like 346 bad archival to 4K and clean up a lot of the blocking and the artifacting. And in some cases, I can't even believe what it's doing. It just up-reses so well that it looks HD. It looks so crisp and clean. And so those are the big ones that I'm using right now. I'll use Midjourney or some kind of image generators for, stand-in VFX shots. Like if rather than just saying VFX and putting in a slug, I'll be like, generate me an image of the world exploding, and then put that, so I'm using it for a lot of like temp cut-ins for what VFX will do down the road after we lock the cut. And then those are the ones that I'm in weekly, if not daily, during my edit process.
Was there a learning curve with Midjourney? Do you have to do it like through Discord, or I know there's some that you have to?
Yeah, there's a little bit of a learning curve now. Now anymore, there's like really great ones that are super user friendly and are a lot more inviting. But there's a little bit of a learning curve with each. None of them are that difficult at all. You just kind of get in there and play with it for an hour, and like you'll develop your how you prompt and all of these other things. Like you'll develop that over time. But it's really easy to get in there and to start activating some of these AI services to put them in your toolkit, to use them as tools to either speed up the process, make the process better, to elevate the art, to elevate the craft. I mean, I use them as tools. Like I employ them for very specific things, and they do that thing very well. And so I got my little arsenal, my little toolkit of these AI services, and there's just more and more coming out. It's pretty crazy.
So if something's too tedious and it helps with the workflow, is it an automatic use of one of these AI programs?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there's some stuff that you can use them for that kind of cleans up that some of those tedious tasks. There's not a ton that really get into to cleaning that up. I'm just waiting for like an AI to analyze the footage, and then I can search for tags over my 400 hours of footage to be like, because there's times where I'm like, I remember a shot where this dude bends down and picks up a soccer ball. And I'm like, that's so easy for AI to analyze it. And I can be like, show me all the shots where a guy bends down. So I'm waiting for that to happen. I'm excited for that one whenever it happens. But yeah, I'm looking, once I'm running into something that I'm doing over and over and over again, I always am like, how can I solve this with a workflow? This is taking me 10 clicks to do. How can I do it in 1, or how can I do it in 0? And so if there is a tedious task that I'm doing over and over and over and over again, and it's not part of the editing process, like watching footage, I will always watch footage. I would never let an AI go through and then read a report of the footage, And so that tedious task is very meaningful to the narrative construction of the film. But if there's just some super mundane, menial tasks in editing, I'm always looking for how can a workflow make this faster and make it disappear. And sometimes that's just programming a shortcut on your computer. Sometimes it's finding an AI tool to just take it away.
What parts of being an editor do you think AI will never be able to perform?
The collaboration, the 1 + 1 = 3 with the director, For me, all of the AI tools that I've used, especially in image generation, and they're getting better, but especially in image generation, I feel like I'm playing ping pong and the other side of the ping pong table set up. And it's just like what I hit at it gives me back. And it's not inspiring, it's not challenging me to collaborate with it, to have a fresh and new idea. Whereas if I'm playing ping pong with a human opponent, I hit it and I don't know where they're going to hit it back. I don't know what spin they're going to put on. You know what I mean? It's much more of a dance when I'm playing ping pong with a human rather than just the other end of the ping pong table sit up. Will that disappear in 10 years or 1 year or like next month? I don't know, maybe. But right now, for me, it's that collaboration, that connection between a director and an editor, and looking for ways, bringing your lived experience and your emotions to the table to try and make a scene or a movie better. That I think will be very hard. I'm not going to say impossible, but I think that will be very hard to remove. Because even now, it's like a lot of our, like my directors like Lucian for Lions of Mesopotamia or Ryan Connolly for these other films, you know, Ryan's in Texas, Lucian's in New York. We're working remotely. And at some point, I bring them in to sit in my studio with me, usually after the first assembly, for a week or two to work through the cut. And the difference between working remote and working in person is different. There's a time and a place for remote, and there's a time and a place for in person. But once you get in person, you have a different connection, and the film starts to take on a different life, a life of its own. The collaboration is much more organic. And so if even the difference between working remote and working in person, both of them have their strengths and have their moments and have their times, but the difference between that is only accentuated when you just remove the person. Now we're just working with AI. You just lose a lot of that collaboration and I think it is the butting of the heads, not in an argumentative way, but I think it is the challenging of each other's ideas and utilizing the lived experience of each other that kind of builds that rapport, and it builds something much deeper. And that's some of the stuff that I'm not seeing in AI, is that depth, that narrative depth, the visual depth, really, sometimes it is, but that depth is what I'm not getting out of AI.
Sure. Have there been directors who've said, I can't come and sit in the edit bay physically with you? Can we just do like a shared screen and I'll be here and you be there and we'll talk?
No, they're usually like, when can I come?
Oh, okay, great.
Not yet.
Like, so you're stopping them first.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
That's good. It's just get it on the timeline. Let's get these scenes down. Let's have something to work with while you're here. And I've built we're in St. Louis, and what I've always dreamed about is having it be a destination for directors to come and have this like little creative sanctuary to work. The music industry got this right, where you have a band that prepares for years for an album, and then they go to Martha's Vineyard with Rick Rubin and hole up for a month and make the album, I love that model. And so to have this, and like you've shot it, we've talked about it, we're working remote, we're assembling the film, and now it's time to make the film. So like come on out for a week or two, and it's just like, I'm there. So, yeah.
Or some castle in the UK.
That'd be
whatever,
great.
right?
I'm down. I'm down.
What excites you about using AI and what scares you?
What excites me are these tools, these amazing tools to elevate what's already there, to make tasks simpler and or go away. That stuff is super exciting. The up-resing with Topaz is insane. It's awesome. I love working with archival, and it's just like, it's like taking a blurry film off of your screen. It brings it to life. So for me, that's the stuff that really excites me. I think what the stuff that scares me with AI are people thinking and using it in inappropriate ways for film. Like, oh, this can just take away this job. This is just we don't need this anymore. And like removing the human element out of it. I think because the tools will be there to make things more efficient, that there will probably be a loss of jobs, because now what 4 people done, 1 person can do with the use of these tools. That happens with all the march of technology as a whole. But the things that I'm scared of is, just generate a script with ChatGPT. Like, let's just cut all of this stuff out. Those are the things that kind of scare me the most. When with all of this new video AI generation, like the Sora or whatever, the one that has just kind of shook the world a little bit, I think it's going to be used as a tool well, and it'll be used as a tool poorly, and it will definitely start to eat into some content creation. I could see it kind of entering the commercial world first, maybe the visual effects world simultaneously or a little bit thereafter. But I could see some of these social videos that brands create being made in AI exclusively. And it may slowly rise, but I also think that audiences will have a thirst for what's real a lot of times. I mean, you even see that with visual effects. People respond to practical, and VFX artists be like, what's practical? There were 100 people on that practical shot. Like, okay, I get it. But there's something like tangible and organic in what we're seeing, and so I think people will respond to that. I feel pretty good in the doc world, because it's like, if you want to make a documentary about this thing that happened, it's going to be hard for AI to replace a documentary about a real person who lived a crazy experience. That's going to be hard for AI to get in there. And so for me, in the stories that I'm telling, in the genre that I'm occupying, I feel like I'm just infinitely excited about AI as a tool set.
Sure, and it seems like with any new technology, there's an adoption period and then there's a rebellion. And with social media, a lot of people have said, hey, I don't want to be on certain platforms anymore, or I just don't even want to be plugged in anymore. I need space from being online.
Yep.
So
Absolutely.
It could reach a pinnacle, and then there could be times when it won't go away, but just that there's not as much of it used.
Yep, the pendulum definitely swings. It goes from one extreme to the other and usually rests somewhere in the middle.